Hi, my name is Wendy Finkley. I'm the Director of Programs for Arts4All Florida, and welcome to Spotlight on Art. This is our virtual community art class program that allows us to bring in our many talented teaching artists from around the state of Florida. They're able to present to you projects that you can work on at home with your family and friends. I'd like to remind you that there is closed captioning for this video. If you look at the bottom of your little screen, you'll see a double C, and at that point, if you click on it, you'll activate it. So it's now with great pleasure that I introduce to you one of our teaching artists from Hillsborough County, Angela Dickerson. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, this is Angela Dickerson, and I am going to do a project with you that is a printmaking project, and we're going to do monotypes. So I've altered this project to be done at home. Normally you would use a piece of plexiglass, but today I've wrapped a piece of cardboard with some aluminum foil because all you really need is a slick surface. I've already prepared a piece of cardstock with a color background, and I'm using tempera paint. Any kind of washable paint should work fine. If you have acrylic, that's fine as well. It's just hard to clean up if it gets on your clothes, but whatever you have available is great. Any water-based opaque paint. So I did a background. You also will need a damp sponge nearby so you can wipe down your plate, which is we would call this your plate. And then you'll have some different color paints nearby. So I have a variety of colors here. And a foam brush is good. If not, you can use a regular paintbrush. So starting with my plate, I'm going to, since I've done this background in blue, I want a contrasting color because this is going to be the background color that we're going to do our monotype on. We're going to use, as our drawing tool, Q-tips. If you have a child that maybe has some difficulty holding the Q-tip, I have created with some silly putty a little knob sort of thing that their hand can fit around. Maybe you have some Play-Doh, or you could even make a dough, like a salt dough. There's recipes for simple water, flour, salt doughs that you can insert the Q-tip inside, and that will give them a little bit more control if they have difficulty using the Q-tip on their own. And then by all means, if they just want to, say, use their fingers as a sensory experience, they can use their fingers to draw through the paint once we apply it to the surface. So I'm going ahead and I'm going to apply a layer of paint, and you don't need to take a lot of time with this, and it doesn't have to be super perfect. We just want to get a nice layer of color on here, and we don't want to waste a lot of time doing it because we don't want our paint to dry. We want it to be wet. So I'm going to take my foam brush, and I'm going to choose some purple paint, and I'm going to apply that to the surface. So monotype means one type, meaning that each time you print, you're going to get a different print image. As with other printmaking techniques, you can use the plate over and over again to get the same image, but a monotype is going to be different every time because it's whatever you paint and draw on your surface. So I'm going to use my Q-tip to draw a design, and design can be really simple. I'm going to do some spirals. Now, say you would like a finer line for this, you can remove some of the cotton from your Q-tip so you have a skinnier tip, and then you can get some finer lines in here. Then I could perhaps do some other little radiating lines. Anything you want. If you have clip art or drawings, any sort of images that you want to create. The sky is the limit. You can do anything you want with this. Of course, you can just totally finger paint into it and get some really cool lines. So I have a little design in here. Then I'm going to take a piece of cardstock, which I've already cut it to about the size of my plate. Of course, you can make your plate full size, whatever size you want. I'm going to lay it down on the surface of my plate. Once it's down, I don't want to scooch it or move it. I just want to leave it where it is. If it's crooked, that's fine. Because if I try to move it around, once it's laying on that paint, I'm going to smudge it, so I don't want to do that. Just leave it where it's at. Firmly place your hands down on top, and then you want to move your hands, rubbing over the plate without moving it. So just applying pressure all over to the back of that paper. And then you're going to lift it up, and you're going to reveal your monotype. Now with the paper that I have that I painted, we'll do a contrasting background color. So all I have to do is with my damp sponge that I have nearby, or paper towels, whatever you have, I'm going to wipe it down, and I'm going to reuse this plate to make another design. So I'm going to do yellow. And I'll do more of a pattern with this. Just do some lines going through. Then I could create some more designs. I can do some circles by removing the paint. Okay, so I have this pattern. Now I'm going to use this paint dries really quickly. You do a really thin coat of this on your paper, it'll be dry in seconds and ready to print on top of. I'm going to lay this color down. And rub. And lift up. And I don't know if you can see if that's showing up very well. Some colors maybe don't contrast enough. That's okay. We can keep going and do another layer over the top of that. Let's use something that has a lot of contrast. Let's use black paint. So we can get several layers of patterns and colors. I'm going to do some spirals again. And then I'm going to take the same paper, lay that down. This is a fun, I think, sensory sort of project. You get to kind of feel and smooth the paper around. Okay, now I've got some real contrast here. You can see that really well. My lighting is good. I've done some of these earlier with some clip art. I have of beetles. So if you want to get a little more realistic, so here's some examples of what those would look like. And I can demonstrate that. I think the black paint gives a nice graphic effect if you want to go more with that. If you're using the same color, you don't have to wipe it down. You can just go right over it. It's almost like an Etch-a-Sketch. You can just keep going, erase, and start again. So you would have a drawing. It could be any drawing that maybe your child already has done before, and they would like to draw it again, but do it in a print form. And so with the beetles, you can start with a really simple shape. It's just a curve, and then it goes across. And then to make an oval body, and then a line going down the center. So then you want to add some antennas and some legs. And then they can get really creative with the designs on the back. They could do large dots or stripes. Removing some of that paint to reveal what is going to be the white part of your print. And these have a really great contrast. Be sure to have plenty of Q-tips on hand. Okay, so here's my basic beetle shape design here. And the fun part is revealing the print. So when you put this down, you don't really know what it's going to turn out until you, it's like a surprise every time. That's why I think printmaking for me is sort of addictive, because I just get excited about each time that I flip the paper, what's going to happen, what is it going to look like, how's it going to turn out. Just do it over and over. Oh, very nice. I'm excited about this one. It looks great. So you could also go back in with, say, a Sharpie and define some lines in here. This dries really quickly. This could be a project that just keeps going, a continuing project where you can add more texture and pattern on top of what you printed. You could even cut these up and create collages. It could be an ongoing, endless project, open-ended project, is what I mean to say, that you can keep doing. So thank you for joining me in doing printmaking, doing monotypes, one of my favorite mediums. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.